you. It's about working with others, communicating with them, and a lot of communication is nonverbal. In fact, they say 93% of all communication is nonverbal. So, communication and confidence is about belief. Belief in yourself. You got to believe in yourself. You got to have confidence in yourself. If you don't have confidence in yourself, how can you expect anybody else to have confidence in you? You got to believe in you. But you also have to believe in your organization and the people you work with. You go side by side. They're part of your team. And when you are interviewing, when you're trying to recruit talent, you got to listen. Listen so you understand, does a person have confidence in themselves? Because they will not rise to their capabilities without that. And part of my job is to help build confidence, to build self-esteem. I try to do it with my assistant coaches. I give them a lot of responsibility. I communicate to them all the time. They communicate back to me. What are you good at? What are your skills? When I find out what they like to do, I give them that job to do. I'm a great recruiter. Get out on the road and recruit. I'm a great teacher. Work with this player who needs to get better. Communicate back and forth with your staff, with anybody that you're entertaining as a potential prospect to come work for you. Communication and confidence. So I want to take you to 2006. We were having a fantastic season that year, best in George Mason history. But we hit a stumbling block in the CAA tournament. And you have to understand that the NCAA tournament is broken into two groups. You know, you've heard of March Madness, the big dance, and everybody, your goal at the beginning of every season is to participate in March Madness, be a part of the big dance. The two groups are this. There are the automatic qualifiers. That means you automatically qualify for the tournament because you won your own conference tournament. We're in the CAA, so if we win the CAA tournament, we go. But if you don't win the CAA tournament, there's only one other way to go, and that's be selected as one of the 34 at-large teams. You are chosen to go. So on March 5th, we play Hofstra University, and we lose to them in the semifinals of our conference tournament. In fact, not only do we lose to them, one of our best players, Tony Skinn, sucker punches one of the players at Hofstra. Nobody sees it. Nobody sees it. He doesn't get called for a foul, doesn't get called for a technical foul, nothing. But I called Tony over because the player that he hit is on the floor and they've stopped the game. And I called Tony up, Tony, you know, like the Sopranos, Tony, what happened? And he said, I punched him. What? He punched the kid from Hofstra. So now Tony's our best clutch player. It's the end of the game. With him, we have a chance to win. Without him, we have no chance to win. Okay, put yourself in my place. Winning this game probably will get us to the finals and into the NCAA tournament. Should I continue to play him or should I take him out?
You took him out?
How many of you would take him out? Raise your hand. Okay, you're learning. All right, see, before with Jay goes, oh, let the kids stay. No, Tony had to come out. Why? Because we don't think that's what represents George Mason properly. We believe in behaving in a first-class manner, and that was not first-class behavior. So I took him out of the game, we lost the game, and I suspended Tony for the first game of the NCAA tournament. So now all the experts, everybody, the newspapers, TV, radio, all talking about George Mason blew it, they're not going to get invited to the NCAA tournament. And so that was March the 5th. March the 12th was Selection Sunday. That means CBS is going to announce who made the field. Everybody knows who the automatic qualifiers are. They've won their tournaments. But they're going to announce the other 34 teams, the at-large teams. So what I decided to do was invite the team over to my house. I invited the media. They could come, the print media, radio, TV, what have you, over to my house for the selection show. My wife says to me, are you crazy? We're not getting in. I said, we're getting in. I believe in this team, and we're good enough to get in this tournament. So what happens is the team comes to my house, and we're sitting in front of my widescreen TV. Everybody's gathered around, and I turn the TV off just before the selection show. And this is what I said to them. I said, fellas, I know you've heard the experts say we're not getting in the tournament. Don't listen to them. You listen to me. Tonight, here and now, I'm going to tell you this. We're going to get into the tournament. Not only are we going to get into the tournament, I want you to believe we're going to play the best basketball we've played all season long. We're going to play the best basketball we have. I want you to visualize yourself. I want you to visualize us getting in, and I want you to visualize us playing great. Can everybody believe that? Can you believe in yourselves? Because I believe in you. You're the best basketball team in George Mason history. You're the best basketball team I ever coached. Believe in what I'm telling you. And they're all like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I sat down and started to sweat, and I turned the TV back on. And my wife is sitting there, what have you set these guys up for? Now, the first bracket gets drawn. No George Mason. Second bracket is announced. No George Mason. But in the third bracket, Greg Gumbel, the CBS announcement, says my two favorite words in the English language. Michigan State will face George Mason. The room erupted, high fives everywhere, everybody's hugging. And then after the brackets are all listed, Billy Packer and Jim Nance, the two biggest experts on TV, get on and blast the committee for selecting George Mason. Are you crazy? They're going to play Michigan State. Michigan State was in the Final Four last year. They're going to get crushed. They're going to embarrass that selection. So what would any good coach do? I'd turn that TV right off. And I turned to my team. I said, don't believe them. They've never seen us play. They don't know how good we are. I want you to go back to your rooms tonight. I want you to put your head on the pillow, and I want you to visualize. I want you to see yourselves playing great. Can you do that for me? And all the players nodded. And then the meeting broke. Guys went home. Next day, Monday, we had a practice. Awesome practice. Everybody's excited, playing great. And as we do at the end of every practice, we meet at the center circle. We put our hands in, and then they follow me into the locker room. So I'm walking. Okay, guys, let's go. And I'm walking out of the Patriot Center towards our locker room when Jai Lewis, who is 6'5", almost 300 pounds, tiptoes like a quiet little mouse. 300-pound mouse, can you imagine? He picks up the Gatorade jug full of ice water, and he tiptoes behind me and pours it over my head. I'm freezing. What the heck is going on? I spin around. My whole team is rolling on the floor laughing. And Jai is standing there with a big grin on his face. I said, Jai, what are you doing? Visualize it. I said, visualizing what? Coach, I'm visualizing the celebration after we beat Michigan State. And we did. We beat Michigan State. And that form of communication, that nonverbal, told everyone that Jai Lewis believed we were going to win. Those guys rolling on the floor laughing believed we were going to win. Me, drenched there, was the picture that they needed to see. To know I didn't get mad, I didn't get angry. I said, well, can't argue with that. And that's what communication is all about. Getting everybody on the same page, to believe in themselves. You communicate with each other in so many different ways. A roll of the eyes, a dirty look. That's not what you want. That's undermining your program. Someone does something wrong. I have a great friend, his name is Dr. Bob Rotella. He's a sports psychologist and a performance enhancement specialist. And he tells me when your players make some mistakes during a game, clap for them. Don't get angry, don't get frustrated, because you're going to make them angry and frustrated and they won't play well. That's not the time to teach and correct. Practice is for that. In practice now, they make mistakes. You get on them and correct it and work with them. And it's true in your business too. You have to know how to communicate. And you have to know how to listen. Because when you're hiring, when you're trying to recruit, you've got to listen to what's important to people. Because if you don't know what's important to them, you may not be able to help them reach their goals. See, my job is to help the Stan Heats of the world become head coaches. Because if I want to retain those guys, see, the Stan Heat story leads to this. Right? When Stan leaves and becomes a head coach, do you know what other assistant coaches then say? I want to work for Coach L. Look what his assistants are doing. These are some of the guys. The first assistant I ever hired, Brian Ellaby, became the head coach of Michigan. The second guy, Ricky Stokes, became the head coach of Virginia Tech. The third guy, Stan Heat, became the head coach of Arkansas. The fourth, Mark Iavaroni, became the head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies in the NBA. Now, assistant coaches from all over, when I have an opening, they want to work for George Mason University because they know that I have their best interest at heart. And so they'll stay a little longer. They'll turn down jobs that seem like a lateral move. They only want to work their way up, and they feel like we'll help them to do that. So to review, the 8 C's are the foundation, the building blocks for our program. Character, you have to have good people. Competitiveness, they have to be willing to compete to be the best that they can be. Competence, they have to have the skill for their job. Consistency, they have to bring it every day. They have to have that self-discipline. Character, competitiveness, competence, consistency. Cohesiveness, they have to be able to work with others. Commitment, they have to be willing to make the sacrifices necessary. Communication, they have to be able to communicate with you, and you have to be able to communicate with them. You both have to be avid listeners. And confidence, you have to believe in yourself, they have to believe in themselves, and you all have to believe in your organization. You have to be able to sell it. You have to have that kind of passion. The great Chinese philosopher Confucius once wrote, "Choose a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life." That's what I did. I love coaching. I love getting up every day and working at George Mason University for a great president like Dr. Alan Merton, for a great institution, the biggest university in the state of Virginia, over 33,000 students. We've built 6 new dormitories in the last 3 years, and we have 4 more being built presently. I work with great people, Andy Ruge and our athletic department. It is a fun place to be. I hope all of you will come watch a George Mason men's basketball game. Come to the Patriot Center. Andy can make that possible. Right? Right, Andy?
Let me know.
But what I'd like to do now is, first of all, thank you for your attention.